It is now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. We want to welcome y'all to the second episode of the D Scott and DD show. Uh, we'll just sit here for a little while and let a few people come in. Well, let's just go and get this thing started. How are you doing today, DD?
I am doing well. I've been out doing some work this morning and helping a friend out, and I'm doing well. I'm kind of drained, but I'm here. I'm here, so I'm good.
All right. I did something today or seen something today for the first time. And the first time today I seen my girlfriend's sister dog had to get euthanized, and we watched it live. And
Oh,
that was the first time that I got to see that. But all in all, I have been here at the house today. I haven't left. We've been doing some cleaning, some arranging, organizing. I'm probably not gonna be able to find nothing when it comes time for me to look for it. But hey, everything will be in its place where it needs to be. So,
yep.
so, but all in all, everything's good. And just we finally got that first episode out of the way, and now here we are, and we're gonna do a little talk about uh little things that I'm just gonna share my story, how I overcame and how my therapist helped me overcome and dealing with when I was in the middle of my divorce, and we're just gonna share some things on that topic, and but all in all, it's good. Uh, So, you have anything you'd like to?
Well, while we're sharing, we would like some of our guests to, if you feel so inclined to share with us, you could share in the chat or we could let you in. But a time that, since our title is Behind the Smile, a time that you had to work through your feelings when you didn't feel like smiling on the inside, but you had that smile going on the outside. So we welcome you guys to join us. We want this to be a all inclusive discussion tonight.
And so, one of the questions that I have right out the gate for you, uh, whenever there's supposed to be a place that you go to, for hope, for safety, for peace, uh, for love, but this place wind up being a place that really hurts you the most. And when I look back over my life, uh, I have had a very good life when it comes to a lot of the let me just say it like this. There's a lot of things that whenever it, week in and week out when I used to hear sermons, uh, they would always be talking about, living from paycheck to paycheck, overcoming, coming from a deep, low place. But my life hasn't been in that place. So a lot of times it didn't resonate with me uh, on a lot of those sermons. I'm looking for the victory. I'm looking for when you done overcome, when you're not in that place. But that seems to never have been that. It always been a low place you're coming out of. But
You do seem to have had a really good life just from what you've talked about. You seem to have had a really good life.
I mean, it was, it has been it has been wonderful, and it's only getting better. Uh,
Hey,
you know, but so let's go ahead and dive into this topic, and we can just talk about how you can stop me and ask me anything, any kind of questions. We had a special guest coming on today, but he had something else to do, so he's not going to be able to make it, and so maybe next week I got some ideas for next week show. But let's go ahead and jump into this discussion here on how it got pretty kind of sort of deep for me, but it didn't get all the way deep to the lowest level of depression. So,
hmm
uh, as we all know, I already explained that I was a deacon in this particular church for I roughly say 13, 14, probably 13, 14 years. And so in the midst of all the things over the years, and a lot of people still wanted to know why I didn't never leave. And I was going to answer that later on, but why I never did leave, because I promised three men while I was there. I made a commitment and a promise to three men that I was going to stay until the church got paid off, even though it took us twice. But I did stay
Hey,
until I got it. Until
second
that.
time is a charm.
Well, the first time shouldn't have. Anyway, that's another day, another story. Um, so and through the midst of my time there, I've seen many couples getting divorced, and I knew something specifically happened one Sunday, and I knew mine was going to happen. I seen it 3 years before it happened through another couple going through a divorce. Now, to explain that, I was at church that Sunday, and a guy came out of the office. Him and his wife had been in the office counseling. So he came out of the office, and at that particular time, the pastor came to me and told me, "Do not talk to him. Don't ask him any questions. Don't talk or nothing." And I'm a deacon of the church, so I really didn't understand why you didn't want the leadership talking to anybody that's going through stuff. So knowing me, I mean, I went and talked to the guy, and when I talked to him, everything that came out of his mouth, I could have told him exactly what he told me on what we was going through. Now I'm not saying that I'm all that, uh, but me and his life is nothing on the same level when it comes to responsible, being a good steward, uh, and I'm not saying nothing bad about it, but it was a lot of different things that he was doing, uh that, that I wasn't. But we was both put on the same level, and we was being treated the same. And and it was only one common denominator. So I was like, okay, well, this is what it is. So I actually seen my divorce years before it happened. So I came home one day, and you can stop me and ask me any questions. I came home one day, and I told my wife at the time, if if the pastor has to have anything to do with our marriage, I don't want it. The following week, she put them divorce papers in my hand. And what made it so bad then was I got the divorce papers on a Wednesday. My sister died the Thursday. The next day, my sister died.
Mm.
So I was dealing with all of these different emotions going in at the same time. So I'm dealing with the thought. 21 years. I'm dealing with that. Then my sister passed, and then we come to the point of she gets ready to leave, and after she moved out, that's where it hit me. But the different layers of depression, I was only able to survive. I survived at the top level, and through my therapist, I didn't fall into the level where you can't do anything, you can't move, you can't eat, you don't want to get out of bed. I never missed a day of work, and the reason why, because uh, I have absolutely nobody has ever heard or would they ever hear anything me saying bad about my ex-wife, and I have absolutely nothing to say bad about her. The fact is that what kept me sane was the simple fact that I didn't feel like me and her was getting the divorce. I felt all along that it was divorcing my path. So
Can I
that,
ask a question?
mhm,
So I want to go back to when you kind of had the ultimatum, I guess we'll say,
mhm.
uh, when you said, I don't want to be a part of that anymore. I wonder for our viewers, our listeners, do y'all see that as a deal breaker for him to say, well, I don't want to be a part, and I don't know if I'm saying it exactly how you said it, but I don't want to be a part of that church anymore. So is that a deal breaker? I mean, is that something that could have been worked on? Or I mean, I don't know. When I think about my personal thought, I don't really see it as a deal breaker, but I could see how some people would, because you're not saying you wouldn't go to any church. You just said not to that one.
Absolutely. That's exactly absolutely right. And I know people, and even in the midst of uh, after she had left and everything, I know I had talked to another pastor, and he was like, "Man, you need to go get your wife. You need to go get your wife." And I had, and even you yourself, you was giving me the, uh, telling me, "Hey, go talk to her." But I didn't want to be part of that culture anymore, of that church anymore, because
Hmm.
what does he have to offer me if he told me that if I'm not under him, that I would kill myself? So after we got to that, after that conversation was had with me and him, there's not really nothing else he can tell me.
Hmm.
So I didn't want to be part of that anymore. Now I'm not saying I won't be part of any other, because I actually miss the church. I miss the community. I miss the fellowship.
Hmm.
I miss when you in need, you have people that you can reach out to.
Yeah.
So I do miss all that. The city, being in the city, the churches in the city, uh, to me they feel like a production. They got all the cameras, all the lights, and it feels like I'm watching a show, and it's kind of hard for me to tune in with that kind of thing. But I understand it because they do a lot of television stuff. But watching
Hmm.
people, it's like I'm on a movie set, and so it's kind of hard to focus when you see all this other stuff going and dealing and everything. But
Hmm.
all in all, I was able to come out of that. Like I say, I never missed a day of work. Now I used to come home every day. After she left, I would come home every day. It was very, very lonely here. And
I know. I was on the other end of them conversations, and sometimes they almost brought me to tears. I was like, I don't know if we gonna make it. I don't know if we gonna make it.
now, you know, uh, but in all that, I went through different phases because I come home, I would cry, and I would look at everything that I touched, everything I put my hands on, everything I looked at, it reminded me of her. So
Hmm.
when I got through that sad crying phase, I went to that angry phase. And that's where I started doing some crazy things in my house because I started throwing away different things that I needed. I was throwing everything that it reminded me of her. I was throwing it away. And then it hit me one day and said, "Man, what are you doing? You need this stuff."
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I throw away food, everything. I said, if I need it, I get it out of, I buy it again. So, but I was able to overcome all that because, like I say, at the end of the day, you know, a great person. She was a great person. And as far as I and me, we had a good relationship. It went south. Now, I haven't been in there. I left I left the church. Let me see, it's two. So it's going on 3 years. So I feel like it's okay for me to talk about these things now because it's been 3 years since I left. Now I had a
Hmm.
dream. I had a dream one night, and the when I was there, I had a dream. Well, I'd already left, but at the time, the chairman deacon of the deacon board came to me. I seen him in a dream, and he told me some things, and I think that was very astounding of what was going on at the time. But it's been 3 years since I have left, and with that, I can feel like it's I can tell my story. I experienced it. I went through it. It's mine. Uh,
Yeah.
so but I finally had some people tell me, "Hey man, talk to a therapist." Talk to a therapist, and I was like, that's not something that I want to do. I'm not doing that because
Hmm.
as a man that was raised in church all my life, my dad was a deacon, or he is a deacon, and my mama was a piano player, and so I was in church all the time. So we didn't talk to therapy. We talked to the pastor. That's what you do. You go to your pastor and you talk to them. But it's one thing that I found out that's a big difference in when I finally decided to talk to a therapist. Uh, it was just like talking to my divorce lawyer. They was working for me. They didn't have no other alternative. They didn't have nothing behind the scenes they was doing. They was working for me, and she was working for me. She was trying to do everything to get me better, and the techniques and stuff that she used, I really, it really made a difference. And one of the things you can see, one of the things that they teach you is to get you a journal, write your journal.
Mhm.
And the first day in my journal was May 26th, 2025. That was the first day, and I was in it bad. Uh, I I was going to the after everything broke down. I started going to the club. I even went to the Spanish club one night, and I did not know nothing music, but they was jamming though. It was good. I ain't know none of the songs and none of the stuff they was singing. But I started.
So I
Mhm.
got another question.
Okay.
Why? So I know culturally we don't, or in the past we have not gone to seek therapy, because we've kind of been a people that just felt like take it to the Lord in prayer.
Hmm.
But there are times that we do need to, especially with men.
Hmm.
um I think men are even more difficult to, it's harder for them to take that. What do you think needs to happen to break those walls down, break those boundaries down?
To get men to talk to therapy.
Yeah.
Well, I think to break them down is to have other men talk about how it helped them, the examples, because the generation before me, they probably not going to talk to no therapy. They're
Hmm.
not going to do it. But
Yeah.
it's very important in today's society that we do that because
Hmm.
mentally it's a lot of things that could really bring you down, and social media does not help it at all.
Exactly.
That's one of the worst when it comes to mental health. Social media is very terrible because on here on Facebook, on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, TikTok. Yeah, you might see a fight here and there, but all you
Hmm.
do is see smiles, you see pictures, you see
Yeah.
happiness,
Yep.
and you can be sitting at home and you seeing all these other people doing things, and you be like, man, what am I doing with my life? And
Yeah.
you can wind up, that kind of stuff will put you in a bad place because you
Yeah.
feel like you're not doing anything. But people might be out doing things, but it's a cost. It is a cost to especially now with how everything is expensive and the cost of living. So when I first got on Facebook many years ago, that was the one thing. I'm like, man, I'm sitting here scrolling, looking at other people's lives, and then I'm like, you know what? And then so I did take a break. I took like a 2 year, 3 year break. I don't know, it might have been longer than that. And I recently got back on a couple of years ago because I was missing out. This is the way of the world now, and I was missing out on
Yep.
so much information, so much whenever if anything happening that I needed to know, you know, I was getting it late. But
Hmm.
I think I think men have to gonna we're gonna have to break the and because it to feel the to break that masculinity to be able to sit down and talk to somebody. And I think it creates a man to make himself feel weak. Maybe he'll feel weak if he do that. But
Right.
but in our culture, in my culture, in my upbringing, um, it was we go to the church, and I had a guy ask me the other day. He called me and we talked. But we always talking about different things, and he asked me. He said, I go to church and they say pray about it and put it in God's hand. and he asked me, "What does that look like?"
That's a good question.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
Because he felt like when they need stuff, and he said, "Well, I just put it in God's hands. Does that mean I need to stop working, or
And
do
how do you know that it's been taken care of?
yes?" But if he gave me the ability to take care of it, then would not that be in So I after seeing and experiencing a lot of things. Now I haven't been, I've been. I guess you can call me a what they call them, CME.
Not to see you me.
I guess
Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter.
yeah. So I guess that's who I have become because I haven't had uh and I got some friends. I got a friend that's a pastor. I got another guy I used to work with. He's a great guy. He actually has his own podcast too. He does a really good job with that. But whereas after seeing so much and being involved in things, and where's the uh because I would love to get back in it. I would love to be back because, like I say, I miss the fellowship and everything. But
Would you say that you feel a little guarded now, like you don't feel as safe as you should feel?
well, absolutely, because whenever you was real close to the leader, close enough to where he would, Thanksgiving and Christmas, y'all spent time together. We spent a lot of time together. But then when some things that happened uh, and made me feel a different way, and all of the psychological things, uh, it just puts a lot of red flags in place whenever I see stuff, and I be like, and it's
Mhm.
and that's the part that I'm gonna have to fight. But does does it change? I understand what the concept of it is, but if
Mhm.
I struggle with now, uh, I'm not, because I like you much. I'm not. I go to work and come home. I go to work and come home. Uh, and that's the same thing I was doing while I was there. So the more issue, the personal issue, and what is I know the message, I know the gospel, but uh what is it for me to go if I'm right here, I'm doing what I was doing, and there's I guess they would say, well, your heart ain't right. But
Maybe,
maybe
maybe.
I'm not able to get my words together how exactly to phrase that. But uh
Do you think that a lot of people get turned away from the gospel because of church hurt?
well,
And I see that Deborah mentioned that in the comments. Thank you for chiming in, and thank you, Tyler, for joining us. But do you think a lot of people get hurt in one situation and then it turns them completely away from the whole ideal?
well, I think church is our foundation. The family is the foundation, and church, the community. But in our community, we talk about unity all the
Hmm.
time. But if you go in our community, you will see a church on every corner. So I think that it hurts us as a people when we can't even come together on a Sunday because it's so many churches, and but then we get to church and we talk about unity. So that's the thing that
Hmm.
I have a issue with. Now I can understand that. I think when I was talking to my friend the other day, he said it's like 208 or 280 different religions. So,
Wow.
but back to your question, I think that a lot of times in these days that absolutely once you've been church hurt, that it makes it hard. People are walking away, and it makes it hard to go back in that environment because it makes it seem like, uh, my here's the thing. Uh, there was a lot. I know that Jesus died for my sins.
Okay.
Okay, and I know that the grace is there. So where I was attending church at, that's what was taught was grace. Everything was focused on grace. That's great. I love, that's fine. But it was like a lot of times the messages for me, and I have, other people talk to me. Sometimes it was like your sins are covered. Long as you come to church, pay your tithes, you can go do what you want to. Well, that's really not changing me. That's not giving me the change that I need because I can go to the casino. I can go chase women. I can go do all these different things. But long as I show up to church and pay my tithes, grace is covering me. But that's not going to teach me to be a better person. I need to be, hey, man, you need to be better. Yeah, grace is covering you, but you need to be taught on how to live better. And see, the what I needed, the example that I needed was that leadership, and what I got was something that I already had, because I already had a father, but
Hmm.
it was pressed on me as though I'm your father now, I'm your dad now, but I didn't need that. I already had that. What I
Right.
needed
Right.
was what I needed was a leader to show me how to uh, be a better steward with my money, be a better person in my relationships, and not uh, put me in a place to like hold me down to make me not be like them, you know, because
Can you
we're
go
not
back and say what you said? We kind of blacked out a little bit. So,
we blacked out. What you mean?
like you froze for a minute and then the screen went black.
Oh,
Just keep going from where you are.
oh.
Keep going.
Well, I didn't see it. Mine didn't. I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not looking on the. So, Deborah, Did you see that, Deborah? I don't know how to. I think we might. Cause see, we didn't even do the lag test to see uh,
Yeah.
how. And I got two laptops working on my Wi-Fi. I don't know if that's uh, pulling anything down. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Um, so I was looking, for that, and it's hard to be whenever you're not you when. Okay, she said she could still hear. So whenever you uh, it seemed like everybody was only could be on the servant level. Nobody could really step past that. Uh, and I seen at the time I was there, I seen preachers come, I seen preachers go. Nobody could really stay and on that level because there was only one person that could be on that level. And
Mm,
everybody made it, known. He didn't like. Well, I ain't gonna say he didn't like, but people to me it seemed like they felt uncomfortable. Now I don't know those conversations or why one preacher would move around and stuff, but for me, I had to get away. It seemed like after leaving, my peace became more. I became more at peace.
mm,
Felt like I became a better person overall. I wasn't, you know, waking up and not being able to sleep, worrying about this, being under this much pressure, and so you know. But church hurt is definitely real, and a lot of people doesn't talk about it. Uh, but I think that we can go back. We can go back and one thing that I like to compare things to is how
okay.
a lot of times that uh, we always make the preacher the smartest one in the room, and I think that comes back, in our times of slavery. I think that's where that's pulled from because if we just go back to those times, the master gave the preacher the word, and he gave it to the slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So when that passed down from generation in generation, and those slaves felt like, hey, if I'm close to the preacher, then I'm close to the master. Well,
Hmm.
when you bring that down from generation to generations, and now we see, I've witnessed that, I've seen that. A lot of times people think the closer they are to the pastor, the closer they are to the master, and that's
Yeah.
it could be a lot of alternative motive in that. Whenever you know you have that power, whenever you can tell somebody, hey, do this, and if I tell you to do something, and I tell God said it, and to get you to do it. But just because people put God before stuff doesn't mean God is involved in it.
So, what would you say to somebody who found themselves in your situation where they felt like a disconnect? They felt like things wasn't really going, they weren't growing, and they needed some help. Wasn't really sure how to get it. What would you say to that person?
Well, if that person is in a marriage, if they married, if that person is in a marriage, and of course I see some a lot of stuff, but we'll talk about that in our spiritual abuse conversation when we talking about the spiritual abuse, because I've seen some things that went behind the scene as uh that's like mm, it's kind of iffy. But I would say for anybody that's in that, if they married, they need to, seek talk to another pastor and tell them, hey, seek counseling of what's going on and how they feel, and try to get away from those things and say they married. Uh, Now, if they single, I mean, run. But
Ah,
in those in that culture, um, it's I don't know, it's crazy because being there made a lot of things in my mind that I wanted to do. It was a lot of things that temptations and things that I don't face now that I'm not there, that I'm not in that environment. But it seems like, of course, I guess they would have something to say about that too. But the Bible has this way of being able to give scriptures for everything that whatever you're going through. But you can ask me some questions and talk. I've been, we're going to call this the rant.
I know. I know. I've been asking questions, but our panel, would anybody like to ask questions? Yeah, I agree with that. There are some that operate out of ego instead of the spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
And but to get back to that place that I was in, and I enjoyed it. Uh, but some of the tips I'm gonna touch on this. Some of the tips that my therapist gave me on that, and anybody going through something, they teach you how to refocus on yourself.
That's a good
Uh,
point. Good start.
you have to, because when I first went to therapy, when I first started therapy, uh, everything was, you know, what I had 21 years. So she said that you need to do everything now for yourself. You need to worry about yourself. You got to remove that. And the way she did it, of course, I got my journal, and I did not know journals cost so much at Walmart. I was like, "God, no, it's
But
this
you
one."
was writing in that journal every day. Y'all, he'd be like, I gotta write in my journal today. I gotta write in my journal today. He was committed.
So what she would do like, you write a word. You had a word of the day, and the word of the day, you would do the word of the day, and then you would do what went well today, what didn't go well, and how to make tomorrow better. And after doing that, because you have to stay consistent. If you just do it and then 2 or 3 days pass and you do it, you have to stay consistent. But in doing that every single day, it put the focus on me, and before long, all those sad thoughts, all those negative thoughts that I had, they was removed, and I started enjoying myself more. Now, like I say, back at and I'm here at the house. I did was able to keep my house during the divorce, which, at first I was like, well, that's it wasn't. I got to be the one to stay here and look at everything. I'm the one to stay here to be here by myself and see how lonely it is. So at first it was very, very depressing, but it wasn't at the bottom. I got up, I went to work every day because, like I say, uh, I knew, I knew that uh, it wasn't separation, divorce between me and her, you know, and it was between. And see, because I used to tell people, divorcing my pastor. That's a big statement,
Mm-hmm.
divorcing my pastor. But whenever them words come out of his mouth, it told me that I would kill myself if I'm not under his watch. I knew then, and that when the church got paid for, but I knew then it was time for me to leave. Now I could have fought through some things and
Mm-hmm.
stayed in my position and come through. But when those words were spoken, I knew then it was time for me to I need to move around. Uh,
Have you
and
and him had a conversation since that statement was made? Have y'all had a conversation about that?
not about that. Uh,
Okay.
but I do have. He called me one day. It's been a while. I think I was. Let me see. So I've been gone. Uh, I was in Corpus Christi. I was in Corpus Christi down that way one day, and he called me, and we had a conversation. And he sent me a text message. Uh, Sent me a text, but a lot of things, and I really don't want to touch on that until the spiritual abuse. But I just do a little say a little bit. A lot of stuff was so psychological. It's like, yeah, I just give you an example. It's like, DD, I don't know what you're doing, but I know you're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't fight that in a relationship, because if
Right.
me and you
Right.
if me and you in a relationship and the pastor come to me and say, I know you're doing something, I know your wife is doing something, but I know you're doing something, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're doing, but I know you're doing something. Well, that's gonna put me in a situation to where I start looking. I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
for stuff. I'm looking
Exactly.
for stuff. You might have some money hidden in a dresser somewhere, and I find that money. Well,
Like, see,
hey,
you was hiding from me.
what else you doing? What else you
Yep.
hiding? So
Yep.
whenever you put that in somebody's mind, it's gonna eat at it. It's gonna eat, eat, eat. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, uh, you know, once you everything is an issue. Well, you hiding this, you doing this, who you talking to, who you texting. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it becomes a whole deal in that sense. But I we more of the mental side today, and because when we had that conversation, it's gonna be a while. It's not gonna be next. I'm gonna hold it off for a little while, because
Mm-hmm.
it's some things that I seen, because everybody come to church and they see what happens during the service, but when them doors close, when you go back in the back and them doors close, it's a difference. It's
Mm-hmm.
it, and whenever another thing that gets me about it today is too, a lot of churches are run like a business. Uh, and
Yep.
when you running a business, you have a CEO, and in that business, Walmart. If you take Walmart, Amazon. Do you think Amazon care if Walmart shut its doors tomorrow? They would love for Walmart to close its doors.
Mm-hmm.
Target would love. So if you running a business, you only care about your business. Now,
Right.
if you got another business that's out doing you got to figure out how you can step your game up and do. So I think a lot of times churches run the church like a business, and in that model, uh, you have politics get involved. because now I got to keep my position.
Yeah.
I got some benefits with my position, and I got to keep it because I don't care who I step on. You know, I don't have to get up and go to work every day. Yeah, I got a major responsibility, but I got to keep my position because I this is my job. You know,
Hmm.
this is my job, and if it's your job, then of course you want somebody else to care the same way about it that you do.
Yeah.
Just like my company where I work in, I guarantee you, my CEO would love for me to feel the same way about it as he does.
Yep.
Yeah. So
That's true.
and when you don't, then you're gonna have a lot of strife. And hey, I got to keep my position. I can't let you, and your unwillingness. Now I remember uh because one big topic at church they always talk about being unequally yoked. Uh so as a deacon, I became unequally yoked. Is what I was told. But we wasn't on this, we didn't have the same feeling about the leadership. So we became unequally yoked. It wasn't
So
just
was it not the same feeling or was it not the same allegiance to the same person?
well, the allegiance.
Mm.
Okay.
So see that
So,
that kind of puts you in a different mindset because we unequally yoked because of this person, but you could potentially go somewhere else, or we both could go somewhere else,
mm-hmm,
if one is not feeling comfortable that way.
mm-hmm.
Mm,
Never, never said I should have tried the Dollar Tree for my journal. I never think about
yeah.
the Dollar
Delar Trey. What? High end store. Let's go to Delar Trey.
Tree. Yeah, I never think about it. I was in Walmart that day. I said, man, I need a journal. I think that journal
Yeah.
was 20 some dollars.
But it is so popular right now. And that's a good thing because people are starting to reflect instead of just pushing their feelings down. I don't deal with that. They're starting to write. They're starting to put stuff on paper because that's really the only way you're gonna make some changes. I mean, you
Mm-hmm,
gotta sit there and you gotta look at it. You gotta look at what you're doing and
mm-hmm,
interact with it, let it soak in. So that's a good thing that
mm-hmm,
more people are doing that. I think more people are seeking therapists also.
mm-hmm. And she was Christian. She was Christian based, which
Hmm.
a lot of them are,
Yeah.
which is good. Uh, but I think for me, what I need to be able to survive in that church culture is the more of the victory side of it. Because it's a lot of the sermons I wasn't in that. I wasn't living that. I wasn't living
Hmm.
that a lot of things was being said. I wasn't in that position. But if the position, I guess, but I understand that's it's going to be more people in those positions because when you look at life, we all have the same problem. We all have the same problem when you look at life, and it's going to eventually something along the way is going to catch up to you. Uh, so if you either going to have money problems, you're going to have relationship problems, you're going to have uh, job. You might have in coworkers, or you're gonna have health issues. That's life. So we can, but when it's not, when I'm not in any of those, what is the message for me if
Hmm.
I'm not
You
living?
see, you got a question out there. Mystical.
Okay.
Yeah, she wants you to. You see it?
Uh-huh. The
Okay.
question is, yeah, there you go. Please speak about how what you went through with the church affected personal relationship with God. Uh we had another comment come over there. Well, my personal relationship, it actually made it made it closer. It made me better to know that there is a higher power, and I don't have to go through a person to get to be that, to feel that, and get that. Uh,
Hmm.
I can seek it. I can seek it, and I know that the Bible says you should assemble and all those things to come together for strength. But they would probably say that I'm out in the wilderness, uh, and I guess the first thing being in the wilderness is to feel like, hey, I'm not in the wilderness. Uh, but I think it made my relationship with God stronger because I don't have nobody else to depend on. That's the only place that I can go is there. I don't have uh, if I have a question. But I never had to take any medicines for this that I went through. She did a very good job, and I hope I answered the question with my relationship. How did going through that?
I see Tyler said that he was in denial for a long time. I think a lot of people experience that. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. But you might really be depressed, but you just like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. And that's when some of that journaling and some of that stuff would help you, and focusing on yourself, like you said, because you start seeing all those things. I think April mentioned how it can sneak up on you and you don't realize um how deep you're in. So you you've got to have an outlet. You got to have some kind of way to say, hey, I can pull back from this. I mean, what is with me behind the smile? I have a friend that and I think you and we've talked about it before, but when I talk to him, I say, how's your heart? How's your heart? He'll tell me how he's doing, but how's your heart? I want to know beyond this. How is that? What is going on with that? So I think there's a lot of layers to it, like you said, but I
Hmm.
also think you've got to get to a point that you say, okay, something is not right. And I think depression, like they said, it can slip up on you, or you could be in denial about being depressed. What is that? Something they said on TV once. They said depression is like a rich person's reason to do whatever. But I mean, depression is a real thing. It's a real thing. And you've got to deal with it, because if not, you have other things that start happening in your life because of the depression, and you don't even realize that you're doing this and you're doing that because of the depression.
And like you said, and I would just add to that, you have to be careful too because you'll start chasing things to try to wipe that depression away, try to
Yep.
mask it.
Yep.
You'll
Yep.
mask it, whether it be alcohol, whether it be drugs, whether it be sex, whatever it be.
Shopping, all of
Yeah,
that.
you'll start trying to mask that, and what
Hmm.
um, you really needed to get some help.
Hmm. So yeah, he said it's real and it affects everyone differently. I think that's another thing. People want to have a set picture of what depression looks like, but
Hmm.
you don't. Nobody know what it looks like. I mean, it can look this way for one person, this way for another person. Because so many of us are wearing that smile on the outside,
Hmm.
and we've got those things going on the inside.
And I know when my mom was going through what she was going through, uh, that was very hard for me to come in on what Tyler was talking. That was very hard for me because I couldn't control it.
Hmm.
There was nothing. I tried to do everything I could, with taking her to the doctor, taking her here and taking her, and I couldn't control what was
Hmm.
the end result. But because if we could control that, then we would save everybody. But my mom was, oh my God, she was. That was very very hard for me to watch that. those
Mhm.
those last those last 2 or 3 months that she went through.
Yeah.
And uh my grieving for that was watching her go through
Yeah.
that.
I
But
remember a conversation with you when we were talking about her, and you were so adamant. You was like, "It's those seeds. It's those seeds," and you were just really like, I was like, "Okay, he's really in." So she ate some seeds that,
persimmon, she ate some persimmon.
yeah,
And
and
after
and
that,
and yeah, you was
and
like,
it,
"It's those seeds." I mean, you was adamant about it.
she
I
got
was like,
sick after eating those persimmons. But
mm,
they love her and my dad love stopping on the side of the road and getting uh wild fruit, berries and persimmons and whatever. Uh but there's no absolutely that's what that was. But she just got sick after that. She started throwing up. It wasn't too long after that. It seemed like everything went downhill. But I can't say that was the cause of it.
yeah.
But
But you
when
could
you
feel the part of you that couldn't help.
yes, so
You
you start
couldn't do
searching.
nothing about that. Yeah, and that
Mhm,
that was you. You were in that place. I can't
mhm,
do nothing about this. I can't. So that was
mhm.
that was that was tough.
And at that time, I did have that when my mom passed, I did have that church community behind me. And that's one
Mhm.
thing that in hard times that's really good when it comes to the church. You have that community. You have those people that come in and lift you up, share some of the burden with you and and show you how much they care. So, I do miss all those things, but I did have that whenever my mom passed. But when my sister passed, I think I had already left. Yeah, I think I had. So
Mhm.
I remember my oldest brother when I got down there. Uh, we was talking, and I just found this out like a month ago when my sister funeral. My oldest brother, me and him was talking, and I was kind of just you know spaced out. So I guess it's been about a month. I was over at his house, and he asked me. He said, "Man, what was wrong with you?" Uh, that day at her funeral. And that's when I told him, I said, man, I was going through a divorce. He said, man, I knew something. I knew something was wrong because you wasn't yourself.
Yeah.
You was off. Uh, and Tyler is absolutely right. When you the person that fix
Mhm.
problem solving and then you can't do it, you can't be that person,
Mhm.
man, that is tough.
Yeah, I heard somebody on radio say that the other day. I think it may have been Steve Harvey, but he was talking about in one of the Strawberry Letters, the lady was saying that her husband had just shut down on her, and she was like, "Well, does it mean he's cheating?" And Steve was just saying, when you are the person that everybody comes to and you take care of everything for everybody, and then you get to a point that you need help, you don't know what to do, because your
Mm-hmm.
strong suit is, I go in,
Mm-hmm.
I fix it, I take care of it. But when you can't do that, it may make you sink into a depression. And in this particular situation, the lady was saying that he don't talk to her anymore. And she was like, is he cheating? And Steve was just saying he might just be having a situation within.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times our childhood shapes us for who we are.
Definitely.
Who we are. And for me, uh, being the one at one point that everybody called on, and then I look at and from what I came from growing up and how that shaped me who I am now. I don't want to. I never when I was young, I said, you know what, I got to get out here and make this happen because I don't want to have to depend on nobody. So now here I am in my life. If something happens, who am I going to call?
Hmm.
So I have to make sure that I can, if I need an emergency, I have it. Because, yeah, I mean, yeah, I might can call some people for a little bit, but what if it's a lot that I need? So I
Yeah.
have to try to stay afloat because for a long time, especially especially in that marriage, we was the person that people that everybody, a lot of people, I ain't gonna say everybody, but a lot of people would come to. Uh, and then when that runs dry, who we going to then? So it's and then but people don't like that. They want you to say you're stingy and
Yeah.
looking out for yourself. But but it's definitely uh and a lot of people that, of course, if you know me, you know that I do talk a lot, but a lot of people feel like that I'm very, silent, that I don't talk a lot and everything. But so this whole experience, this whole thing that me and you doing is very helpful for me to be able to talk openly
Hmm.
about some of the things that I went through in life. Uh, and I'm not ashamed to talk about anything. Uh, but I'm not gonna belittle or berate anybody that don't deserve that. Well, nobody,
Right, right,
but and I'm just my
yeah,
my experience at the church is my experience. If
right.
somebody else didn't have that, then that's perfect because I did get phone calls that, hey, when you left, things changed,
Hmm.
and maybe sometimes that's what it takes for the right one to do that. Uh, the question: has depression affected your life before preceding the divorce, or was it the first experience with? It was. Mm, watching my mom was depressing, but uh, being in a relationship, because at that time the marriage was still there during my mom passing, but uh, and I had the church culture, the church was behind me. So being depressed, I can't really say that I fell into a depression before my divorce. I can't really say that. I'm thinking back over my life. No, it was a lot of, but this is just a laughing point. It was a lot of sad times, depressed times when I used to get to Cisco and I opened that back door and see all them groceries on there. But other than that, but as far as
Well, I mean, I dealt with depression as a kid,
mhm,
and so it was. I mean, of course, I didn't know that it was depression, but I dealt with it as a kid, and it can happen at any age, and it's something that we have to pay attention to. We definitely have to uh keep it in front of us. Um, because things will get away from you if you don't.
and being in the era that we grew up in, um, you could get away. So if you was at school and you was depressed at school or you had bullying going on, well, when you came home, you could get away from that because it wasn't social media. But now you can't get away from the bully and the what's being said and all these things. So I can pretty sure there's a lot of kids, and I mean, I know in you retire now, but I know in your profession you probably seen a lot of different mental
Yes.
problems when kids.
Yeah. And see what a lot of the bullies don't understand, like you said, when you go home, you can get away from that. What a lot of bullies don't understand is some people's bullying is coming from home. So if you're getting
Hmm.
it from home and you're getting it at school, you just, it's too much to handle. It's a lot for you to deal with. And when you think about it, and I used to tell my students all the time, you don't know what this person is going through. I mean, I haven't taught kids that lived in cars. Their family didn't have anything. So when a little boy came to school and he didn't smell as fresh and the kids wanted to talk about him, I was like, no, you're not. Now, of course, I wouldn't tell them that I knew he was living in his car, but they don't have access to water like they need to. But I said, no, you're not going to do that. Because think about it. You already got to live in your car. Then you come to school, kids call you stinky. You know,
Hmm.
And now, they'll even go and put on social media, somebody in my class was stinking today.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a lot for people to deal with. And mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And it's, that's why when you go to the doctor, the first question on that thing, do you feel safe at home?
That has not always been the case, but they definitely ask you that now.
They do.
Do you feel like harming yourself? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, interesting. But hey, I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that they putting it out there. I'm really glad that it's because you never know. You never know what somebody's going through. That's
Mm-hmm.
like I always put on my TikToks, be the reason someone smiles today. Because you
Mm-hmm.
never know what people are going through. And behind that smile, people that I went to high school with, they had no idea some of the stuff I was dealing with because I always had that smile, I always had that personality. They had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
No idea.
Yeah, I remember taking my high school sweetheart and showed her where I grew up at, and she was so shocked that
Mm.
she couldn't believe it. Like,
Because you was this big football star. You wouldn't have
well, I
thought
ain't gonna say I ain't gonna say a
you
big.
was a football star. You was a come on,
I ain't gonna
come
say I
on,
was a big
own it,
star.
own it, own. You was a little
I,
star.
I
You
was a little
come on,
bit. Yeah, I
come
was
on,
okay.
own it. You
I
gotta
was
own it.
okay.
I
I was,
mean, come on. Now I done heard the stories.
I was okay. I got hurt my senior year, so I didn't get to push my dream a little further than high school.
I need you to
And
go on and own it. You
yeah,
was
I
probably
was
at,
I
at the
was
house doing this in the mirror.
well, I did as a teenager. I did do some stupid things as that athlete. I remember one day after basketball practice, I come walking down the hall with my shirt off, and the teachers was standing out. One of the teachers was standing out in the hallway. He said, "Come on, Jenkins," and they took me down there, and we could get licks back then. And I tell you what, we had a principal that really could wear that thing back and wear you out. But the hardest in high school, my freshman year, that was the hardest lick that I ever got. I was We was in history. I had a coach. One of my coaches taught history, and I guess he was having a bad day. I don't know. He was just sitting at his desk and he wasn't saying anything or whatever. And we were just in class goofing off. Um, and one of the seniors picked me up and he kind of threw me, and I hit the window and it cracked. And it's like the whole room just went silent. And coach, he got up. He said, "Y'all, come on." And I tell you what, whatever he was going through, he let all his anger out. I said, "God,
Ah,
no." Well, he tore us up. Yeah,
mm.
yeah. But them good days. I still remember the prank that we did my senior year, and it probably would have worked, but we had a couple of freshmen with us that kind of, I think they were the ones that told. But I would love, we did that. Me and my friend, he passed away now. He got killed in a car wreck. One of my best friends in high school. We went, me and him and a couple of freshmen, but we had the valedictorian of the class with us, and we went and stole the city limit sign of the
Ooh,
team that we was playing for homecoming. And we snuck it in because back then there wasn't no camera, it wasn't none of that. So we snuck
yeah.
the sign back and put it on the bonfire. And so the next morning when everybody got there, that's when everything like, who did it? Who did it? But they found out. But I would love to know. She was the valedictorian, and me and my friend, we were just some dumb athletes. And I would love, I would love to know the conversation that her mom and daddy had with her.
Ooh.
I might have to
I,
ask her to
I,
come
I
on one
don't
day and tell
know.
us.
I know. I know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
I'm
love that.
surprised they were still paddling when you came along. I
Oh
mean,
shoot,
I got
what?
a couple of paddlings myself.
They wasn't just paddling when I came. They was trying to break your back in.
Well,
They,
maybe it was the coaches. I think coaches can get away with a little bit more than, you
well,
know.
the principal. I mean, the teachers never did, but the principal was definitely giving us licks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah, I had to get licks in front of the class in 7th grade. My best friend, I don't know if I even told you. I think I told you that story. We were supposed to study vocabulary. Oh, they stopped.
what
Hmm.
city? This country where I was.
Yeah, well, we were supposed to study our vocabulary. She said, "Well, Dee Dee, don't study it. All you got to do, you know, when somebody start they sentence with all you got to do." She said,
Mm-hmm.
"Write your answers on a little piece of paper and put it under your thigh." I ain't never been a good liar, a cheater. So if you're gonna do anything wrong, don't bring me with you because it ain't gonna work. She didn't get caught. I got caught. Boy, them was some of the hardest licks I had to get right there in front of the whole class.
Mm. Well, I know for me that one of the smartest things for me that I did in school was to make sure I had smart friends.
Ah, so you could
So,
cheat off of them.
well, hey, you got to survive.
Ah,
I had to get out of there.
but what you gonna do when you can't cheat?
I was I was able to do my stuff. You know, it was just them mornings. Sometimes I needed just a little extra. Hey, I didn't get a chance to do my homework last night.
You know, a boy told me that this year. He said, I don't know why you wasting your time teaching me this. He said, I go to school with the smartest kid in this school. Why do I need to know when he know everything? I was like, how is that working out for you?
So you know, I had a wonderful time when I was in high school or growing up in school. So back to that question about mental health before my divorce. No, it didn't. I didn't have I didn't have anything that I can look back and see. It was depressing and sad watching my mom, but I didn't have anything uh, in my 46 years where I was just fell into a depression to where I had to get on some pills. Now, at one point in my life, I was having issues, and the doctor thought it was because of depression, but it was just because of my hormone. My testosterone was too low, and it caused some issues. But it wasn't a depression, but it kind of that's what she diagnosed me with because she thought that's what it was until they ran some more tests on me. And but I didn't like the pills that they put me on. I did try them for a couple of weeks because I thought that's what I was, but what I found out is that you don't feel anything. You don't have no feelings. You're basically happy. And I used to try to think of sad stuff and I couldn't.
Oh,
it
wow.
was it was weird. I couldn't think of nothing. I was trying to make myself sad and I couldn't. So
Mm.
but and I went back to it and I told her, I said, no, I don't like these. I don't have no emotion. I said, I don't think this. And then that's when we did some more testing and my I had low testosterone. So I guess I was just emotional and maybe they got me in time before I got too much like a woman.
You know what? Time out. You going straight to time out.
I was very emotional. I just started crying for no reason, and I didn't know what was going on. And she thought I was depressed. I just had low T. Oh, hello, Pamela. Yeah,
Hi, Pam.
but yeah, but so and so, I I never thought that my biggest challenge in life would be at the church. Uh,
Yeah.
I never thought that would be the case. What you talking about, Deborah? She said, "Wait a minute." She probably- but yeah, uh, I don't know. I don't know. Seem like and I know they say it's hard for a rich man to make it to heaven. That's what a lot of people in the culture in the church environment say that. But I don't know what is the answer for people that's you know that's that's kind of sort of okay. We you good steward, you handle your business. Uh, but it seems like when I was in that environment, problems was created to keep me in a cycle.
Hmm.
Oh, oh she talking about
Hey.
well,
We need
Would
more
you?
men to feel like us.
Oh well, yeah, well, we gonna have to have a panel. We gonna have to have a panel to get down in them conversations. We need. So, would you say it scared you into therapy since you haven't experienced it before? Um, I knew something was going on with me, and I had different friends tell me, "Hey, try therapy." And I had some that was on, already doing therapy, and they would say, "Try it." And I'm, being me, I was like, "No, I don't need that. That ain't got nothing. That ain't got nothing for me. What can they do that I can't do for myself?"
Yeah.
Uh, but after, I wouldn't necessarily say it scared me, but it definitely, the things that I was dealing with, I knew it wasn't going to be long before I made a terrible mistake trying to stay afloat. Uh,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying, it might have just been, going to the club, getting drunk or something, and driving, drinking and driving, stuff like that
Yeah.
as a mistake. But because a lot of, that's one way to, because I definitely not on no, the alcohol stuff, you can use that to hide it, but other things as far as drugs and stuff, I'm definitely wasn't supposed to go down that road. Uh, but I don't want to put nothing in me I can't get out. That I have to wait for it to come through me. I ain't got time for that. uh, so
Hmm.
I that was never thought to be that far gone. But it was some days on the weekends that I'd lay around, but I would get up and I would go go to the club, go to the bar, uh, try to find something to take my mind off of it. And I had all the answers all along. It was me, and that's what she was able to pull out, was the fact that I had the answers to be able to overcome just that small depression. And she did a good job. It didn't take long, uh, for her to get me past that. And and then too, I did meet somebody, that really helped me,
Yeah.
you know, and that was really a big help. So I guess they say opposite does attract. Because she come here and she can organize everything for me, and
Whew.
I don't know. I ain't gonna be able to find nothing this week. Yeah,
Hey.
but it's all good. I enjoy her company. She's such a very good person, very peaceful, quiet.
And I love you two
We-
together. I think she brings out the best in you.
she's a Gemini. We haven't had no argument yet, so I don't know what the other side looks like.
I
Uh,
don't even think y'all gonna argue. I think y'all will have discussions, but I don't think y'all gonna
yeah,
argue because she's definitely not gonna argue. And then you're not
so,
really that feisty. You say what you got to say, but I don't think you're gonna argue. She is and
uh,
she does.
the only the only thing about me and her discussion is she's like to have them, and she likes to stay up so late, and I be needing to go to bed, and we talking. I'm
Wait,
like,
she said, "Well, let me tell you."
I be
Hey,
needing to go to sleep.
don't y'all come for my girl April now.
But she's such a very joy to be around, and it does makes me feel like a lot better person. And maybe one day, we'll find that because she wants to get back into church, and I know sometimes she's looking for me to lead. She's looking for me to lead that, to be the leader in going back to church. And so maybe one day we'll be able to find her somewhere, after some more things get ironed out and figure some things out what we go be doing.
Hmm.
But it's definitely a good place. I'm definitely in a good place, and I think that post that I made on Facebook, I think some people thought that I was in a depression, that I was going through a depression, but I'm not depressed, uh, but I have overcome that. overcome that in my life. And a lot of, it just feels good to be openly to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what you had asked earlier with the men taking therapy, I think that if more men give their example of therapy and how it helps, that maybe more would try. Would it work for everyone? I mean, it's good to try it and see, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You never
but
know.
so well, as you see, I did get me another chair because that first episode that we did, we stayed on here 2 hours and 20 minutes. Uh, I'm not planning on staying on here this long, but I think we had a wonderful discussion. And how are we going to do my little giveaway? How many
Oh
people we have?
yes,
Yeah.
giveaway.
So I see we have 5 people. I don't know who those 5 are, but if we can just give a number between 1 and 100 for those people that's looking. Man, I don't know. It'll take a little while for it to come through. And whoever get the number all closest to it, that'll be the one that. Uh, well, hello, Miss Layonda Kenyatta. Now, Kenyatta is she's actually a teacher too in over there in Shreveport. I think it's Shreveport
Okay.
in that area. She's a teacher.
All
Now,
right now.
Kenyatta is my classmate. And when I said it's good to have some smart friends, that's who I used to sit behind in English class. In, in Miss Ellis, in Miss Ellis class, I sit behind Kenyatta, and I'll be trying. I hated reading. I hated reading
What? Who
because
don't
I
like reading?
because I can't say the words right. I had
But,
problem with
but do
speech
you
and stuff.
understand the words?
Well, I can't tell you what a semicolon does, but
What? Well, that's easy. That's easy.
but so yeah, I used to sit behind her in English class, and I'll be trying to get some answers, or I'll be hiding basically, so Miss Ellis wouldn't see me. I didn't never want her calling on me, and we read Greek mythology and all that stuff. Uh,
Yeah. Them
so
numbers is coming in.
they coming in. What we got? What we got down there? We got them.
uh, Now, April, are you picking the number for him?
Well, no, I'm gonna do it on my phone. I'm gonna do a generator.
Low yonder.
Hmm.
English teacher. She said you was smart. See? See? Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes, I am an
I was
English teacher. Or was.
I was smart enough to have smart friends. That's yeah. So we got. I'm gonna give, let's say 7:25. I give 3 more minutes for the numbers, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna do it. I'm gonna do one on the gener on a. I'm gonna do one on a generator. Well, I thank you, Kenyatta, for your support. Thank you
So,
so much.
Kenyatta,
This
you
is
got locks too, girl. Girl, we sisters. We sisters. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this is actually our second show.
Yep.
So
See,
we.
look how they talking about how you was so
Oh, thank
smart.
you. Oh, I'm about to get one. See if I can. I'm about to see if I can get one of my teachers to come on and talk. My biology teacher. I would love for him to come on.
You
He had
know,
such a funny
one of my
class.
teachers is Facebook friends with me. He's
Hmm.
actually a frat brother too. He was everybody's favorite. It would be nice to get Vamp to come on. I don't know if we could ever do such a thing, but I
Hmm.
may try.
Yeah.
Try to get Vamp to come on and Coach
Yeah.
Belton.
Tell us how you was growing up in the school.
You know, I don't even know if he would remember me. Now, who would remember would be Miss Lee, but I don't think she do social media. But Miss Lee was my English teacher and my cheerleading coach. So she would more so. I don't know that he would. I mean, you got to think about it now. It's been a long time since I was in his class, but
Now,
I don't know.
I was a class clown. Now,
Mm.
I
See,
was
that's why
all
we connect so well, because that was me, always with the jokes,
yeah.
always.
I was always smiling, laughing, and doing that.
But look,
I,
one time I became the joke.
mm-hmm.
My oh, you cut them? Well, see, I cut mine too. And then I combed them out. So now I got micro locks, but I'm waiting for them to grow out a little bit. But let me tell you, one time I became the laughter, the joke. So my high school sweetheart went to another school, and so he came up to our school. You could just come up to other schools or whatever. And he broke up with me. And I was like, y'all remember me talking about him. He was just horrible, horrible. But anyway, I was late going to class, and I went to the bathroom first to try to get myself together because I was crying. Well, a long piece of tissue stuck on the bottom of my shoe. So I come in class late, boo-hoo crying with this tissue just hanging off of my shoe. Yeah, it was I became the joke that day.
I got somebody scratching. Somebody want to. I guess they want to say hello to you.
Oh,
I got
them
somebody. I guess want.
Rottweilers.
Come here.
Mm-mm.
Uh oh.
Yeah, y'all gonna get scared.
I guess he want to say hello. He's scratching on the door to get in.
Oh,
So say hello. This
where's
is
the
Roman.
sidekick?
I can't pick him up. He's too big.
Oh, oh,
So this is
he,
this is this is Roman.
he
He's a
licking
cocker.
me.
He's a cocker spaniel, and he's over here scratching the door to get in. And he's very lovable. If you want a dog that wants to be on you all the time,
Mm-mm,
be where
mm.
you at all the time, be in your lap, a cocker spaniel is the dog that I get. This is
Mm-mm.
you should get you a pup. You should get your dog, DD.
No, no, no. That's a very hard no. My students every year, they be like, "You don't like dogs?" No. One girl said, "What kind of person are you? The kind that don't like dogs?"
Look at
Because
him.
I'm
He's such a
scared of. Mm-mm. And
yeah.
see that licking, ooh, mm-mm.
Well, they all don't do that. It's just this brand.
Ooh, mm-mm. No,
Looky is not a he don't lick on you.
that's because he probably biting you.
He's not gonna bite.
He's so
He's too good.
aggressive.
He's not aggressive. I
Shh.
can't I can't pick him up though.
Oh,
Yeah,
mm-mm,
he's standing right there, but I can't pick him up. So,
mm-mm.
April, do you have the numbers? Do you have the names and numbers? Who she said she was working on
It's a lot of numbers in there.
it. Yeah,
I hope y'all win it. Whoop, whoop.
gonna go back in the. Let me see what we have. Uh,
Mm. He don't right now, but I bet you he will one day. No, Miss Deborah. Mm-mm.
okay, so I'm gonna do a. Hold on, let me check. Got a little echo coming back from me yonder. So I'm gonna do a number generator this time around, and let's see what it does.
So the closest one to the number without going over, or do we have that, or just the closest one to the number?
Well, the closest one to the number.
So 15, is that old for a dog?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now my daughter loves dogs. My daughter actually, when she lived in Austin, she was a dog walker. She will go out and oh
Go ahead. You're good.
oh
I'm
yeah.
just
I don't.
I
That's
just don't
just
know if
not one of my things. 104.
what are you talking
Oh,
about? Oh,
the dog is 104 in human years.
get out of here.
Okay, well,
He coming here with that squeaky toy.
uh,
So
she
I'm
said he does
generating
lick you.
I'm generating, and that's what it came up with.
Okay.
79. How you
Who
do
gonna get
79?
the who
What we
gonna
got?
get the
79.
prize? Who gonna get the prize? Closest to 79. Oh,
Well, we do thank y'all so much for tuning in, uh, giving us a chance to entertain you. We just starting out, and you
yep,
know,
yep.
we're gonna see where this thing going. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy this. Hopefully, my
Yes.
schedule will keep it to where we can because everybody ain't retired. So,
Well, I mean,
so tell us a funny kid story.
so well, the one I just did my TikTok on when
Hmm.
I had some girls, this is a 7th grade class, and they were sitting in class having a conversation. I'm doing attendance. They supposed to be doing their little bell ringer, but they talking and they were saying, "Yeah, girl, cuz so and so have booty calls and so be going on booty calls and so be going." So they was talking about their little friend group and they were saying, "Yeah, they all be having booty calls." And I'm like, So then they look over at me and they said, "Well, isn't it a booty call when your phone is in your pocket and you butt dial somebody?" Yeah, we're gonna say that's what a booty call is. We're gonna say that's what it
So you
is.
said Pamela is the closest one.
Yay, Pamela.
She's 9 away. I guess that. Get out of here. I'm gonna bring this dog over there so you and your daughter can
Oh no,
keep him,
no, 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 no,
and that
no,
way
no,
you'll know
no.
that you want one.
If he come over here, I'm gonna stay in this room with that door closed and probably put a towel under the door so I don't breathe no dog fumes. No, no.
Okay, you
I'm
can't keep
just look. I was chased in 5th grade by a Doberman all around the neighborhood. Green shorts with the white trim on. You see how traumatic it was for me. I could feel his hot breath on the back of my leg. Nobody would call the dog off. See, Kenyatta thought my story was funny. Kenyatta probably got some funny teacher stories too.
I'm pretty sure. How long you been teaching, Kenyatta? I don't know. I don't know the lag. We got a little lag
Oh yeah.
in the comment. Yeah. So uh if it was Miss Jameson or Pamela, I mean I'm sorry, Pamela Johnson that had 88. So Pamela, so come back here and let me show you something, April. You say you can't do it. Oh, so if Pamela Johnson is the one, you said that's the one that's got the closest. Okay. Well, see, you can do this. Well, I feel you. But,
I like that shirt. Thou shalt not try me.
um, good. Okay. Okay. So Pamela, if you can, if you don't mind giving me your cash app, if you have, I only have cash app. If you don't mind giving me your cash app, and I'll send you your prize for tuning in with us today for this
Yeah.
evening. Yeah. We
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect hour and a half. I think it's perfect. Of course, we could. The first time we ever got on here just to run a test, we was on here for 5 hours,
5 hours.
and then we went back and did another time. We was on here 3.5, and our
Yep.
first show was 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yep.
So, but yeah, if she could do that, you can
Yeah.
actually. Let me see. I guess I can reach out to. She's one of my.
And the people
One
who
of my
visiting us, y'all, we are open to feedback if y'all see something that maybe we don't see that we could do a little better or do a little different, we are open to feedback. You can let us know, like, hey, this didn't go well, or y'all could do this a little more, or something like that. Just let us know. We're trying to improve.
Hmm.
Um, my
Absolutely.
Yeah, my main goal was to not knock my camera down because I've been knocking my camera down. So whoop whoop. Kenyatta, you didn't give us a teacher story.
She's still here.
Yeah. So Kenyatta, what school do you teach at? I shouldn't have used at the end of a sentence,
Oh
but
yeah. Well, I did not
mm,
know this. So for next week show, I'm gonna when I do my Facebook post, I'm gonna be asking for relationship questions, and they all will be anonymous. They all will be anonymous. So if anybody want to send us a relationship question, uh, we
wait a
go.
minute.
Uh huh.
So Pamela Jameson, who did she teach in fifth grade? You or Kenyatta?
Well, I think she said the person that won is okay. Yes.
She
Well,
said
she would have taught.
still.
She she would have taught both of us.
Oh well, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
we was
okay,
classmates.
okay.
actually,
Uh,
actually, if you could send me your cash app, she sent it, Pamela, Miss Pamela. If you could send me your cash app, if you have it, or you could send it to my messenger if you want to do it like that. But I actually moved to Chevyville
oh, okay. I see. I
in the
see.
fifth grade. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, so I went to St. Augustine from kindergarten to fourth, and I moved to
okay.
Chevyville. So I consider the '98 class of both schools. I consider them my classmates. Yeah. So
Hmm.
and then when I went to college, I was with some guys from St. Augustine, a couple of guys. We was the same age. We graduated the same year.
That's neat though to have student and teacher on here together. I'm gonna have
See,
to get some of my
I wasn't no
students.
trouble. But in the fifth grade, though, I will say I remember being new to the school. The boys there didn't they want to whoop me, and so I was scared. And I would stay with the teachers. We would when I leave. I never went to recess after I know they want to whoop me. So I never went to recess. I would always wait and leave the cafeteria with the teachers. So I wouldn't get
Oh,
whooped.
that makes me sad.
Well, hey, I wasn't no star then.
Ah.
Yeah, it it was it was later, but I ain't know I wasn't no I was okay. I was all right. I did my thing.
So, Miss Jameson, are you still teaching or you retired?
Shelbyville is it was great. I enjoyed my time there. It was great. I had a very good time growing up there.
That's good. Hey, I had a good time growing up in Monroe, Louisiana. Best place to grow up. We call it
Mhm.
Fun Row because you have so much fun in Monroe. Uh,
She said she didn't know I used to. I guess she's talking about waiting with the teachers to come out. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Kenyatta, you should have went helped him, girl.
She said she
Help
didn't
him
know.
fight the way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I used to come out to the cafeteria with the teachers. Had
Oh,
it.
okay. 31 years. Well, congratulations. I just retired this past year with 24. I really should have made it to 25, but I don't think I had another year in me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I will. I'm going to message. Uh, I'll just message her later on Messenger, and
She said, I didn't
well, you
either.
know, it's all good. I didn't wasn't it was all
Kids
good.
are just different now. They're
I,
really different.
I had to do what I had to do to survive. Oh, she said she's been doing 20. Okay, she's at 20 years.
Okay, yeah, these kids are. Yep, yep, yep. The little lovelies are very lovely.
What grades you teach, Kenyatta?
She said high school.
Oh, she said high school. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So is
but I
it
mean,
is it what did you think? Do you think the high school kids are easier or better or junior high?
oh, 10th.
Elementary?
I've never taught high school. Were you asking me or Kenyatta?
I'm asking you. What
Okay,
you
I've never taught high school. I only taught elementary and middle. And middle school is a lot harder because you got so many different personalities and people feeling themselves. But I enjoy teaching middle school more. I would not go back down to elementary unless, like, if I do this teaching online, I might do elementary. But I was up for the challenge. I think I was a glutton for punishment because boy, them kids would come in and they would say some stuff. I taught elementary from '02 to I think 2012. Oh yeah, eighth grade girls. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, they killed me wanting to fight about anything. She mean mugging me, girl. Look the other way. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Them, they. Ooh. Mm. But I definitely am. I'm already missing, teaching. I don't miss all that other stuff that go along with it, but I love what I do or did. I love what I did. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I often think without some of the stories you would tell me, I know I wasn't like that in school.
Well, see, but when you think of like your age and my age, we had a level of fear. And
Hmm.
so like a lot of the kids now, they don't want them to be afraid. They want them to express themselves and doing this
Hmm.
and doing that. Some of the stuff that I mean, these kids will just stand right up to you toe to toe. I ain't doing it.
Hmm. Yeah,
You
that was
know?
definitely a level of respect for the teachers. Uh,
Yeah. And you
I
remember that one a couple of years ago that went put all that stuff on Instagram about me? She said, I have never hated anybody more than I hate Miss Blunt. Why you felt the need to go put that on Instagram with all your bad grammar? See, but I can't come back because I got to be professional. I can't come back and say nothing. Like,
yeah.
why your fingernails so dirty? Why you look like you ain't bathed in a month of Sundays? I mean, I'm just saying. Mm. Bye, Kenyatta.
See you later, Kiara. Thanks for joining in.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right,
yes. Plenty story times.
plenty story time. All right,
Yeah.
we thank y'all for joining us today. We finna get off of here, and next week we go do. I'm hoping to have a couple more people come on. We had a guest that was gonna come today, but something happened and he wasn't able to show up. So we're gonna next week. I'm gonna try to have a panel where we can ask and react to. We can answer and react to relationship questions,
Mm.
and we'll see. Hopefully, I
So
can get what's that? Go ahead.
is it just gonna be relationships or will it be dating?
Dating, yeah, dating questions, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Okay.
So thank y'all and for joining us, and we can go ahead and give them your famous saying. Give them the saying that you always say. Be the reason.
Be the reason someone smiles today. Yes, you never know what
Absolutely.
somebody's going through. Yeah. Thank
Absolutely.
y'all.
Thank y'all so much for joining us, and we'll see y'all next week.
All right.
All righty.
Bam.